This is Top Accurate Global News Update. I am Abiodun Mohammed. At least 2 explosions rocked Kyiv on Friday and air raid sirens blared as African leaders began a peace mission hoping to mediate between Ukraine and Russia. The peace delegation, including leaders from South Africa, Senegal, Zambia, the Comoros and Egypt, said it was pressing on with plans to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy later on Friday before talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin in St Petersburg on Saturday. Pressmen in central Kyiv heard 2 explosions. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko also reported explosions in the central Podil district. Another source also confirmed seeing the smoke trail of 2 missiles in the sky above the capital. It was not clear if those missiles had been fired by Russia or Ukrainian air defenses. The television crew saw the leaders arriving in Kyiv in a convoy of cars and entering a hotel to use its air raid shelter. The all clear was later issued for Kyiv, and the South African presidency tweeted that the mission was proceeding well and as planned. Protesters in Lebanon have attacked several bank buildings, set tires alight, and smashed windows to demand their money back. The angry demonstrations took place on Thursday in a suburb outside the capital, Beirut, and targeted the branches of Bank Audi, Bank of Beirut, and Byblos Bank in Sin Elfil in Mount Lebanon Governorate. The protesters were angry about financial controls which have destroyed many people's life savings. People demanded the return of their money, also calling for officials involved in corruption, including the central bank governor, Riyad Salameh, to be held accountable. Lebanon has been hit with a crushing economic crisis since 2019, with the World Bank deeming it one of the worst in modern history. The country's currency, the Lebanese pound, has lost more than 98% of its value against the US dollar since the crisis began. Experts say the country's crisis is rooted in decades of corruption and mismanagement by a political class that has ruled Lebanon since the end of the 1975 to 1990 civil war. A Syrian teenager who survived a shipwreck that killed at least 78 people was emotionally reunited with his elder brother on Friday, but there was no news for other relatives gathering in the southern Greek city of Kalamata to search for loved ones. Witness accounts suggested between 400 and 750 people had packed the 20 to 30 meter long fishing boat that capsized and sank early on Wednesday morning, about 50 miles from the southern coastal town of Pylos. In the immediate aftermath of the disaster, 104 survivors and 78 people who drowned were brought to shore by Greek authorities, but nothing has been found since. A massive search and rescue operation continued on Friday, but hopes were dwindling of finding any more survivors from the hundreds of people believed to have been on board the boat when it sank in some of the deepest waters of the Mediterranean. Early Friday survivor Mohammed, aged 18, from Syria, burst into sobs as he spotted his elder brother, Fadi, who traveled from the Netherlands searching for him. They wept and hugged through metal barricades erected by Greek police around the warehouse in Kalamata, where survivors had been sleeping for the past 2 days. About 25 other relatives gathered outside, hoping for news, clasping screenshots of their loved ones on mobile phones. British prosecutors have authorized sexual offense charges against Michael Lockwood, the former Director General of the Independent Office for Police Conduct, according to the Crown Prosecution Service (CPS). The charges authorized on Friday against Lockwood are 6 counts of indecent assault and 3 offenses of rape against a girl under the age of 16. The CPS said the crimes were allegedly committed between October 1985 and March 1986. The 64-year-old resigned from his role at the IOPC in December last year after it emerged he was the subject of a police probe. Police officers are being accused of rape at a rate of 1 a week in the UK, according to the report published on Thursday by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism (TBIJ) and Channel 5 broadcaster. Over the past 5 years, more than 300 British officers have been reported for rape and 500 for sexual assault, the report said. Xi Jinping called Bill Gates, in quotes, an old friend, and said he hoped they could carry out activities together beneficial to both China and the United States in the Chinese president's first meeting with a foreign entrepreneur in years. In the meeting at Beijing's Diaoyutai State Guest House, where China's leaders have historically received senior foreign guests. Xi told the Microsoft co-founder and philanthropist that he was very happy to see him after 3 years and described Gates as the first American friend he had met this year. Gates, who arrived in Beijing on Wednesday, told Xi that he was honored to have the chance to meet. In quote, "We have always had great conversations and we will have a lot of important topics to discuss today. I was very disappointed I couldn't come during the last 4 years, so it is very exciting to be back." Xi stopped traveling abroad for nearly 3 years as China shut its borders during the pandemic, and its international meetings since the reopening have mostly been with other state leaders. A number of CEOs have visited China since it reopened earlier this year, but most have met with government ministers. That is the size of top accurate global news updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy weekend.